What's up, everybody? I'm Kenny.
And I'm Jackson.
And this is JK Builders. Today, we're going to be talking about the 2019 most recent Millennium Falcon. It is from the Rise of Skywalker movie. Today, Jackson is sporting his brand new JK Builders t-shirts made for him by his Grandma Allen. So thank you, Grandma Allen, for creating these t-shirts. I'll be wearing mine in coming videos. Maybe one day we'll have them available for sale on a website or something, but not today. Anyway, like I said, today we're going to be going over the Millennium Falcon. Let's break down the box. Here it is. It is a pretty large box for a pretty large set. The Millennium Falcon, I believe, retails for $159.99. So there's the box art, good sized box. Jackson, you want to break down all the details for us?
Well, it's 9+. The item number is 75257, 1,351 pieces, and it comes with Lando, Chewbacca, C-3PO, Finn, Bulio, R2-D2, and Dio.
So yeah, quite a few minifigs come with this set. The box art is awesome. It's got some turret fire going on. You got the logo for the Episode 9 sets with Kylo Ren with his reconstructed helmet and his lightsaber. On the back, all the details. You got the different features outlined in yellow. So you have the turret that can house a minifig. You got spinning turrets on the top and bottom. You have a full interior with a whole bunch of details. Showcases the back of the ship, which is completely new, that we'll talk about later. Cockpit and spring-loaded shooters. So lots of details involved on the box. Here is the instruction book. It's a big old book. It's kind of heavy. It's 260 pages. Nothing too fancy on the inside. So there's no story, nothing about Episode 9. I was kind of hoping there would be, but there's not. But it is a pretty hefty book. Voila! All right, there it is. The Millennium Falcon from Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. This has been out for quite a while, close to 2 years, I think, something like that. I just bought it this past summer when we started getting heavy into collecting Lego. But I knew that it was one that I couldn't pass on just because there's so many great things with this Millennium Falcon that we'll talk about today that they made improvements over previous renditions of the Millennium Falcon. For $160, you're under $200. I mean, obviously there's the UCS Millennium Falcon, but you're spending $800. I don't have that one yet. Maybe someday. But there's like the Death Star. There's obviously more expensive, larger sets that might be better. But this one, for the money, dollar for dollar, is like the best Lego set you can get.
It's worth it.
Totally worth it. All right, so here it is. Let's go ahead and show you the different details. So starting with the front of the ship, one of the most obvious improvements of this ship over previous renditions, and we can compare it to, I have the Han Solo movie, the Kessel Run Millennium Falcon that we can compare it to here later. But one of the biggest improvements that I think is just the aesthetics of it, just the shape. So the way that it goes flush with the sides of the ship, rather than previous renditions where it jotted out like this. It just looked funny. Also, the cockpit was further forward on the front of the ship, which I thought looked funny as well. Both of those have been completely fixed on this rendition of the Millennium Falcon. But if we look at the outside, there's lots of little details. You have these little vents on top. You got the turret right here that spins all the way around. There's another one on the bottom. Another one of the huge improvements on this ship is going to be the back. So I can show you again on the Kessel Run ship, but this one has those clear blue tiles for the boosters, and I just think they look 100 times better than the previous models of the Millennium Falcon. So big improvement there. On the bottom of the ship, you've got the landing gear, you've got another turret. This is probably my one thing that I wish that they would have done a little bit better. And I mean, it's not any different on the previous models, but I wish they'd clean this up a little bit. Because in the movie, you see the bottom of the Millennium Falcon. You know, it flips around, it spins, you see the bottom, and I just think this looks kind of messy. So it'd be cool if they did one where the bottom looked a little bit more finished as well. But aside from that, not a whole lot negative I have to say about this ship at all. I guess we got the, right here we have the satellite dish. It's the circle version. It is just on a little ball joint there, so it can turn all the way around. It won't pop off, which is nice. All right, yeah, let's open it up. So first you slide this down, and then you open up each of these. Now this is another huge improvement of previous models. These wider sections that open up. What this does is it limits the amount of gaps that we have.
And it only makes that so there are 6 of the little covers.
Like the panels.
Yeah, the panels.
Yeah. So rather than a dozen panels, there's only 6. So they're larger, it creates less gaps, and it also just makes it look better, like a more finished product in the end. So huge improvement on that. So yeah, we open it up. It has little screens there with different gauges and instruments. You have a little hollow chessboard there with the 3 seats. This seat has a little bit of a swivel to it, which is kind of cool. Tons of space in this section. You have a little box with nothing in it. Lots and lots of space. Like I said, they moved the cockpit back, which I think opened up this chunk of space right here, which just makes it feel so much more roomy. As we move to the back of the ship, you have a little kitchen area with a little pan cooking on the stove. You have a mug. You have just some like tubing for some detail. Here's a little box here where you can put some stuff in it if you want to. You got the hyperdrive, a couple of beds that the minifigs can lay on and sleep. Just lots of little details, which I think are pretty awesome. In here, there's this little handle that you can pull up, and you can actually hide a minifig in the floor. And then over here, you have the door that opens up to the ground. So the hatch where they can go down to the planet or wherever they've landed. If I had to be nitpicky, that would be another complaint of mine, is just that there's not enough clearance for like a minifig to fit in there. So it's really just there because it should be, not because it's really going to be useful when you're playing with it. But that's just me being kind of nitpicky. Other than that, you have this compartment that opens up, and inside you have a location for the turret operator. So you can put a minifig on that and lower him down in, and then he will operate the guns on the ship. All right, so yeah, that kind of breaks down the interior. Let's close it back up. And let's pop off the cockpit and take a look at that. This is fully printed cockpit. There are quite a few stickers, like you have the stickers here, the stickers on the control panels, but the cockpit is fully printed very nicely, I think. Lots of space in the cockpit. There's room for 2 minifigs, and then you have some handles, gauges, and then there's also that little stud right there where you can actually put little Dio. So they actually created that spot just for this one because they knew he was going to be in the movie. So pretty cool.
And you always have to include him.
You always have to include him? That's right. You always have to include him. Oh, on the front, there's also the stud shooters. So there's one here, there's one on the other side. And you actually fire those by just pushing inside of the circle. Like so. Let's get a closer look here at the side of the ship. Just lots of little details. Again, one of my favorite things is the way they've cleaned up this back end. Looks so much better. And again, how it's nice and flush right here. Just looks perfect. All right, so breaking down the minifigs, it does come with 7 total minifigs. First, we'll start with Dio. We already kind of showed him, so he's a little droid that is featured in the movie. He's just one solid piece. He's got a couple of attachments for studs. If you ever just want to hook him onto something like you do in the cockpit. The nose there is painted on. It's all printed. Pretty cool. Kind of small, but cool nonetheless. Next up is Chewbacca. This is the same Chewbacca we've seen in previous renditions of Star Wars sets, but you gotta include him, of course. He's got the little stud shooter bow and arrow set going, but yeah, he's awesome. You got C-3PO. This is a really nice C-3PO. He's got the printing on the back, the front, and the legs. Looks really good. Next up is R2-D2. Same R2-D2 we've seen 100,000 times. Not really, but we've definitely seen him before. So same old, but obviously has to be included in the set. Here we have old Lando. So you can see, if you can see, he's got the white eyebrows and mustache. Looks like his hairline has seen better days. So he's definitely an older version of Lando, but of course he's still wearing the same clothes that we saw him in 30, 40 years ago, which I find interesting. This time he's got a cane, and he's got this little gun with the, I don't know if it's like a crossbow gun. But yeah, he's got the printing on the front and the back. He's got this fancy little cape with black on one side, blue on the other. But old Lando, I think, looks pretty good. All right, and then we have Finn. Same old Finn, I think. Printing on the front and back. There's that lightsaber calling to me again. Printing on the front and back. He's got his blaster. He's got the little satchel. He does come with the happy face and then the scared face. This is the Ray face. Ray! Ray! Because that's pretty much all he says in the movies is Ray! And then, of course, we got Boolio. So Boolio, not in the movie a whole lot. One of his main things that I like to say is, win the war!
He's pretty much in it, like, for, like, 2 minutes. That's it.
Yeah, just very briefly, and then you see him not alive anymore. So, but he does say, win the war! So that's how I remember him from the movie. But cool little figure, you know. He's got the little horns that are kind of rubber, so they're bendy. He's got the printing on the front, back, and the legs. But I think he's exclusive to this set. I don't know if you can get Boolio in any other set, but pretty cool minifig to have. All in all, I'm really happy with the minifigs it comes with. Can't really complain too much. There's really nothing lacking as far as the minifigs go. Obviously, it could come with like a Ray, but we already have like a dozen Rays, so I'm not really worried about that. I really like old Lando. I like Boolio, and then that C-3PO are pretty awesome. And then the others, which aren't exclusive, but are cool nonetheless. So, and just a quick side-by-side comparison, so you can kind of see what I was talking about and see the difference between the two. We have the 2019 Millennium Falcon next to the Han Solo Kessel Run Millennium Falcon. The thing that is most obvious to me is just the aesthetics here, the way that this doesn't line up flush with that like it does here. Again, that's one of my favorite things of the new set, is that they fix that. This one has the cockpit forward a little bit. Like I said, it kind of gives it more of a skinnier feel and look to it than I think it should. So I definitely like that they pushed it back on this one. Let's pull this off just so you can kind of compare that too. So these are skinnier and they don't go back flush with the sides. So definitely improved in the new set. And then, like we mentioned here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 panels that you have to open up to get it open. So exactly double, 6 here, 12 here. So definitely like that they lowered the number of panels. In here, not quite as much playable space, especially in the front of the ship. You do have the hollow chess board game there. This one has a little drink station, the hyperdrive, so it's kind of flipped around. But then if you close it up, you can also see, as we mentioned, the gaps. So there you got gaps all the way around where you can actually see inside of the ship, even though it's closed up. Where this one, no gaps. Absolutely awesome. So there's a side-by-side comparison to kind of show you some of the improvements, but definitely like the 2019 version a lot better as far as how it looks and how it compares to the actual Millennium Falcon from the movie. So now let's break down the pros and cons. Jackson, what are some things that you don't like about this Millennium Falcon?
Well, I don't know if there's anything that I don't like about it.
Nothing at all?
No, probably not.
There's nothing Jackson doesn't like about this Millennium Falcon. Jackson, what are some of the things that you really like about it?
I really like that they added this, like the smooth part, instead of just like and then
yeah.
Like it's
made it nice and flush.
Yes.
Yep.
And another thing that I like about it is that they made these two circles, so you can just put your hand in and shoot the spring-loaded shooters.
Yeah, that's super convenient. You don't have to hit a special switch or anything. You don't have to like reach underneath. You just put your finger in that hole and it fires. Yeah, both pretty awesome things. So things that I don't like about it, we've already mentioned the ones that I don't like. So number one, I wish they'd clean up the bottom a little bit. Again, that's just a little nitpicky thing, but when you're playing with the Millennium Falcon, I feel like it's going to flip and turn. You're going to be able to see the bottom. And then the other thing was that door that opens, the hatch that opens from the bottom. I wish they would have designed that so there's a little bit more space that you could use it when you're playing it. Because I feel like when it lands on a planet, you should be able to get a minifig in or out. If I have to think of something to complain about, those are the two things, and they're pretty small. So all in all, we've already talked about things I like about it as well. Definitely the aesthetics, the way they push the cockpit back, the engines on the back look awesome. I love the detail. The turrets are cool. I think the minifigs are awesome. Really no complaints. I think this is an absolute must-have. If you don't have it, you can still buy it. It's still available in stores. Go pick it up right now if you don't have it. I'd assume that most Star Wars Lego fans already have this set, but like I said, it's an absolute must-have if you don't have it. So you need to go buy it right now. Turn this off and go buy it right now. Right?
Yep.
So anyway, if I'm going to rate this one, I'm going to give it a 9.8 out of 10. Next to perfect. There's just a few little things. I think for the money, it's hands down one of the best Lego sets out there from Star Wars anyway, if not in all of Lego. But tons of playability. I think you could play with this thing for hours. I think it looks awesome on a shelf. I think it's a good, accurate representation of what the Millennium Falcon looks like from the movie. Yeah. For $160, you just can't go wrong. So what do you think, Jackson?
Well, if I would give this a rating, I would give it a 9.7 because I just wish that they cleaned up the bottom a little bit, just like you said, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think, yeah, if you're playing with it, you're going to see the bottom. So, but it looks really awesome otherwise, and it's definitely an improvement from previous renditions. So we appreciate everybody watching. We'd love it if you liked this video, if you've enjoyed the content today, and also subscribe if you haven't already. We're just trying to build the channel, get as many viewers as we can so that they can join us along the way as we review different Lego sets and talk about why we love Lego. Thanks for watching. Remember, keep on building!